Eileo guys, and welcome back. So for today's video we have Mitoru's account, but before I get started my boys, go ahead, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already, and go ahead and subscribe to your boy. Go. I know you see my videos, I know you watching them, I know you be clicking on them. Go ahead and subscribe, it really helps very much. But anyways, for today's video we have Mitoru, so let's go ahead and get right into it my boys. So Mitoru, I have gone through your account and there's a few things I wanted to point out to you. Obviously the main issue of course is that you just don't have gems at all. Like, the problem isn't that you are using flat gems for mons. The problem isn't that you're using broken sets with your mons. You like literally just have no gems at all. Like, your Draka has no gems. Like, Cupid's missing a gem. And it's a sad state because you have a lot of good potential mons that you could build and work with, but you just don't have the gems for them. I mean, look at this. What is going on here, my boys? Like, what's going on here? But do not worry, we can take care of that. Of course, we're gonna get you some golem teams picked out, hopefully some early dragon teams picked out as well. And right now, I mean, I would not focus on trying to do any of the Colossus right now. You need the gems first before you think about that. But also, there is also one thing I wanted to also, but there's also two alsos. But I wanted to point out with your wood anew though, I'm not sure if you just try to fill a slot out, but you have them with a crit rate gem up there, an attack gem, not a big deal. But then you just have a recovery gem on him. I mean, I guess it has a crit rate sub on it, but just wanted to point that out in case you put that there by accident. That go ahead and take that off if you plan to use anew, but he's at level 50 anyways in Evo 3, so I'm assuming that you do in the future. But just wanted to point that out there. But anyways, let us go ahead and work on getting some golem teams first. You do, like I said before, you have a good pool of mons, so the content shouldn't be too hard for you as long as we get them built up. But I looked at your B18 first. 2 Monas, Dark Fib and Dark Shadow, perfectly fine. I mean, when I ran it, my runtime was 53 seconds. Maybe that's due to good RNG. But if you want to get the runtime down a little bit more, finish booking up your 1 Mona. Other than that, it doesn't matter. As long as you got 2 Monas minimum, you could bring in your Fire Draka if you wanted to, but really, 2 Monas, fully booked up. They both have crit rate and I believe double attack. Don't worry about it, man. As long as it's a minute or less. If you want to go less than a minute, then perhaps put a Mona on a Siphon set, or put someone like a Sarah or Tina on a Siphon set and have at it, even Fire Draka, but close enough for right now. So your B18 is good. It's good to go. For B7 though, what I recommend is you do have your Indra over there. Dark Fib could work. Shadow could also work, but you have wood anew, so you could run wood anew. You could also run wood Hohenheim. I'm not sure if you guys have seen on my video, but she is viable for B10. She is 100% viable for B10, but I don't picture her being super duper useful here. I mean, you could feel free to test her out if you want, but I don't envision her being super duper useful. Purse is a defender. I'm trying to see if you have any other grass mons, because it doesn't look like you really do. Which, I mean, it's not the end of the world. Loki? No, he has defense down. Tails has defense down and exposed weakness, I believe. We're not going to get in a bolt wing. We are not going to get in a bolt wing. He could potentially slow your runtime down. Indra works. This team should be okay. Is it optimal? No, but it should be okay to get you through. If you don't want to use Wood Hohenheim for some reason, then throw in your Dark Fib, because you already have him gemmed up. I believe you have him skill booked up already too. Like, you already invested into him, so you don't have him skill booked up, but you already have him gemmed up, so there's no excuse as to why you wouldn't use him. But you can run a comp like that and that should be perfectly fine. Definitely get wood anew to 60, and you can of course use him in dragons. Of course, he's wonderful to use in clan versus clan as well. But this is a good wood team for you. And like I said before, you can translate this over to dragons. Now you may need to switch someone out, like maybe you need to switch out Dark Fib and bring in a healer maybe, or maybe take out Shadow, even though I know Shadow has Battle Rush. It's up to you to figure out. This is just templates for you to figure out what you can work with. But generally speaking, at least 2 DPS, if not 4 DPS. If you can't do 4 DPS, then at least 3 DPS and a healer. But that should be pretty much it for your B7 team. Let's go over here to B9 though. For B9, again, you can leave these two, but with Shadow there, I mean, Dark Fibian could be overkill, but you do have Fire Draka here, so you can go ahead and slide in your Fire Draka, Arthur, Zubaji. If you want to use Zubaji, you can bring her here if you want to invest in her. I mean, it's not wrong for you to do that. If you want to bring in Arthur, that's perfectly fine. Who else? If not, you can just run a team like this for right now. I'm not promoting my secret occult of Dark Fib, but if that's all you have right now in terms of just minimal investment, this team should work. You could obviously switch out Arthur and put in Zubaji if you want to use her, or anyone else that you want to use. If you want to use Valk, put in Valk. Artemis not so much, but for future reference, if you do want to do stuff like dragons, Shadow may work. I'm not sure how well he does work because mine is only Evo 1, but for future reference, definitely bring in a Cupid if you need heals, and you can always drop Fib and Shadow and get actual mons that are, you know, that have the elemental advantage for dragons. In a team like this, I mean, just alone, you could probably get away with, what is it, fire? Yeah, you could probably get away, honestly, because you have a light succubus. You could get away with that. Like, you have plenty of SP batteries, so don't think you're tied down to one thing. Mainly, you just want to get your SP up, have Draka clear out the waves, and clear out dragons. So you shouldn't have any problems with the mons that you have, as long as you invest into them, of clearing at least up to dragons B7 with good gems. Now, you're going to need the good gems, but at least B7, no problem. B8, 9, and 10, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm not a dragons expert, but we will get there. But this is just a potential B9 team. Again, at least 2 DPS minimum, but Draka is a nice bonus. He doesn't need to be on a Siphon set. If you can get him on at least a triple attack or crit rate attack set, then congratulations, B9 is basically done, which is wonderful. And then let's go over here to B10. So for B10, you do have Fire Draka. So I would definitely say bring in Fire Draka. There's no excuse as to why you couldn't bring in your Fire Draka. Fibian, he doesn't have to be there. You can run Shadow. These could act as potentially your 2 wave clears because Shadow is going to be a SP battery. You could go SP overkill, which is bring in your light succubus if you want and have her tank all of the hits, and you could drop Shadow. But that battle rush is pretty darn solid, dude. That battle rush is a blessing. I'm trying to see if you have any sappers though. You do have Wet Artemis. I know I did see Wet Artemis there. Oh yeah, you do have Shinobi. You could bring him in for something because what does he have? Elemental Edge on his first skill. Not optimal, but he could work. But you could bring in Light Succubus. I'm not saying that you have to. You could bring either or. Shadow might be a better bet if you have enough DPS. But where's your Wet Artemis at? So you could bring in Wet Artemis, and I was hoping that you would have another sapper. Maybe you don't. Vamp, Victoria, Tina. Maybe not right now. You don't have another sapper. I mean, there's Yuki, but I personally would prefer. Oh, you do have Wet Miho. You could raise Wet Miho up. I know people don't like Wet Miho, but if you want to run 2 sappers and 2 wave clears, it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But I would say minimum 2 sappers, unless, like you had stated before in Discord, that you're trying to run I believe 4 Light Mowglis. In that case, then 4 Light Mowglis Well, I only see one there, but Light Mowgli would need a siphon set most definitely. But essentially, you want at least 1 to 2 wave clearers. For your case, I would say 2 minimum and 2 sappers. As long as they're Evo 2 minimum and they're gemmed up properly, at least plus 12 5-star gems, it should be sufficient. Like, Draka's there to clear out the waves, and they're just there to nuke the boss with their sap. But eventually, I mean, you can feel free to try this out whenever you want, but eventually, if you can get 2 sappers, like, I'll put... Did I pass her? I think I passed her. I'm not saying build Water Yuki. I'm personally just not a fan of her, not because she doesn't look cool, but her animation's just dirt nasty slow. But if you want to do kind of like what I do now and put your Wood Hohenheim to use, though, you could definitely... Where's she at? Because you already have her Evo 2. I'm not sure if you're going to use her or not. You could run just like that. Wood Hohenheim can do the saps. You'll have 3 sappers and Draka. Obviously, your gems need to be not perfect, but they need to be optimal for that to work, at least stable-wise. But that'd be a perfectly fine team. Perfectly fine team for B10. In terms of dragons, you can leave Draka there. You could bring in Light Succubus as your tank, just for her to take all the aggro. And then we just need 2 hard-hitting Mons at this point. You could bring in not Wood Fibian, but Dark Fibian. You could bring in Anu. I would say try to bring in Mons that have Hunter on them. So you could bring in Anu, and I believe I saw a Dark Mowgli. So you could definitely bring in a Dark Mowgli if I can freaking... Dude. Yeah, so you could bring in Dark Mowgli and Wood Anu and just nuke those Mons before they can get a turn. And that should be pretty sufficient for dragons. Pretty sufficient. And again, the same thing can be said for your B7 team and your B9 team. Try it with DPS first. If you can't clear it with DPS, take a DPS out and throw in a healer. So 3 DPS and a healer, and you should be pretty solid. But in your case, since you have Draka, you don't really need... Keep in mind, this is for dragons. This isn't for golems right now. Keep in mind that, I mean, you don't really need your Light Nike to be Evo 3. You do have your Light Odin as well. Is she Evo 3? No, she's Evo 2. Nope, she's Evo 1. You don't really need your Light Odin either for this. You do have Succubus, which I would say 100% focus on baby girl over here, because can't she heal? Yep, she does. She does heal, and she does have morale boost. You also have Shadow, and you at this point you don't need them. Just Draka, and if you have someone that can tank or someone like Shadow that can do battle rush, congratulations, you're done. You can still invest in them units, and I highly recommend you investing into them just because they're useful to have, period. But as of right now, that's pretty much the teams I could pick out for you. And like I said before, Colossus, we're not going to worry about that right now. You really need to get your Mons up. Same thing with Tower of Chaos. If you can get your Draka up, you could run Draka, Shadow, Dark Fibian if you want. I'm not saying you have to use them, but you already have them built up. Dark Fibian, and maybe someone that can stun, like your, I believe, Fire Arthur. Because Draka and Shadow alone should basically just clear out everything. But I would say bring at least 1 CC'er. So if Fire Arthur is all that you have, or in this case your Wood Indra, that should be sufficient, man. You should be good to go. You should be good to go. You should be able to do Tower Chaos, unless you just never got around to it for this month, because the reset was just very, very recent, which was all of about 4 or 5 days ago. But let's go back over here, and we're going to end the video of just me picking out Mons that, in my opinion, you need to invest in for future content. But please keep in mind, focus on the Golems Mons first. Focus on Golems. I would say build your teams up for B7, build them up for B9, build them up for B10. Build all of those Mons up to level 60 minimum. Get them gemmed up properly, at least plus 12 gems if possible, because you can take those and you can throw them over there to dragons, which will get you siphon gems and will get you really popping with that story right there. But in No particular order. Hint, hint. Please focus on the Golems mons first and then work on these. But in no particular order, I just go from dark to light. I didn't really see that many dark nukers, which is a bit unfortunate for you. But definitely, if you can, work on that cult for future endeavors. Dark Miho is good as an HP aggressor, just all around the board. Shadow, get your Shadow. Get him fixed. Get him fixed. Your Dark Amphibian's fine. Book him up when you can, just for some additional damage out of him. You do have Dark Mowgli as well, and she does have a square shot on that one. So get her up because she's going to be a very good nuker for you. I say very good. Is she like the best nuker in the world? No. For what you have right now, she's going to be good. But in the future, like Colossus, she should be fairly useful there, and dragons. So definitely work on her. Light, you could always rock Purse, especially in PvP, and she does have her uses in PvE, but I wouldn't say big priority. Not a really big priority with Light Odin either. Light Succubus needs to be a high priority. Light Succubus, you need to prioritize her. Not kidding at all. Prioritize her, and especially get your Shadow gemmed up. But prioritize her because her and Shadow, you can swap in between both of those. Light Mowgli, again, prioritize her as well because she is a light nuker, which you don't have much of. But okay, you do have another Mowgli, but you don't have much of. But for Dragons content, she will be useful there as well. Silver. Camilla is also more of a PvP unit. Once you get into PvP, and once you have the gems for her, you can come back to her. But right now, we're just focusing on the mons that you have, which she does count. She does count. You can focus on her too, but just not right now. Another mon worth mentioning would be, if you plan on doing Titans, obviously build up a Wood Hana in the future. Wood Miho is optional if you do want to use her as a Wood Mon for either dragons or just PvE farming until you get a siphon set. Not necessary, but she does an okay job. An okay job at minimum. Definitely get your Anu up there to 60 because you already have him at Evo 3. There's no excuse as to why he can't be 60. Finish your Wood Indra because you can use him for his Sea Strike. Not his Sea Strike, but his CC. My bad. If you plan on using Wood Hohenheim for B10, get her to 60. Get her gemmed up as well. HP attack. Congratulations. She's done. Water Mowgli, don't really worry about her. You have 2 Monas. There's no reason why. You can actually have 3 Monas. If you want to use another Sapper, I personally would recommend Wet Miho over Yuki. Both of them have super evolutions. It's not worth it for either one of them unless you just have excess stones laying around. But get her booked up. HP attack will work as another Sapper for your team. Definitely get Artemis number 1 as a Sapper for B10. But I would say do B7 and B9 first. Get your money, get some gems for these mons, and then do B10. Because that way you have them all built up for dragons as well. You're not just focusing purely on B10 because you have other mons that are branched out. Mona. You could do your Water Purse anytime you want, but Shadow and Succubus, you can have her as a PvP unit, but Shadow and Succubus, there's no real reason at the moment to prioritize them. Let's see what's good over here. Get your Draka gemmed up. I would say priority number 1. Get Draka gemmed up. If you're going to use Fire Arthur, feel free to get him to 60. If you're not, you can always use your Water Sura or just use your Wood Indra right now for CCing. For future content, if you want to do Artemis, you could use Artemis, but not a big priority right now. I know you mentioned your Succubus. Obviously, you're working on getting another one built up. Sha Wujing, decent Titans mon, but we need the gems for them Titans mons. But your main issue though is probably just, oh yeah, and don't forget about Cupid. Do not forget about Cupid as well. Cupid seals are very, very useful in dragons if you don't have the DPS, and of course in future Titan content if you're interested in Titans. But your main issue here in the future is dark nukers, so hopefully you can pull some more dark nukers whenever they come back. If they come back, maybe Baby Shark's going to be a Dark Nuker, who knows. But the main issue there is Dark Nuker, so pick them up when you can. But overall, I don't see you having much of an issue besides maybe 1 or 2 of the Colossus. For future content, you should be able to do dragons just fine. You should be able to do pretty much all the content in the game just fine. It's just a matter of building those mons up and getting them gemmed up. But it's been 20 minutes and I don't want to make the account review any longer. But once again, thank you so much, Mitoru, for allowing me to review your account. I apologize that it took longer than expected, but that's life. And once again, guys, if you haven't already went ahead and liked and subscribed, go ahead and do it now. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.